Picture this. A cool $250,000 is just sitting there, right in front of you. Life-changing money, and it's yours for the taking. But of course, there's a catch. This massive mountain of cash rests entirely on your ability to read a complete stranger. Make one wrong judgment, misplace just 1 ounce of trust, and poof, that $250,000 vanishes completely. Welcome to the absolute ultimate test of human intuition. In this explainer, we're diving in and deconstructing a viral 30-day challenge, turning it into a really fascinating psychological case study on trust, deception, and incredibly high-stakes decision-making. We're going to break down exactly how one person navigated an absolute minefield of shifting variables to protect a massive payout, and what the whole thing teaches us about human behavior. So here's the $1,000,000 or, well, $250,000 question. How do you actually know if a complete stranger is lying to you? I want you to immediately put yourself in the shoes of our subject, Allison. If you were suddenly chained to someone you just met, do you think you could spot the micro-expressions, the subtle little hesitations, or the linguistic slips of a hidden betrayer? As you'll see, it is way harder than it sounds. Okay, let's get into section 1, the setup. The core mechanics of this experiment are honestly brilliantly diabolical. Allison has to spend 30 days physically handcuffed to complete strangers. And these aren't just annoying roommates. They hold the ultimate power over whether Allison walks away rich or with absolutely nothing. The outcome perfectly mirrors a classic prisoner's dilemma. If Allison reaches the end and chooses to trust a splitter, they both walk away with $125,000. But if she picks a stealer, that stranger takes the entire $250,000, and Allison, she gets zero. So the entire financial burden rests on a single massive judgment call, making every single interaction incredibly tense. Moving on to section 2, shifting variables in environments. To make it practically impossible for Allison to establish a psychological baseline for these people, the game continuously throws unpredictable environmental curveballs her way. Right when she gets comfortable, boom, everything is upended. Every 5 days, Allison is chained to a new stranger, chosen purely on first impressions, and thrust into a radically different, highly stressful environment. She goes from a cramped tiny house to a surprise limo arrival to literally living inside a functioning grocery store and even a slanted house that had an airplane dropped on it. These shifting environments, they're totally by design. They apply stress to force cracks in the stranger's facades, making it so much harder for them to maintain a lie. Which brings us to section 3. Testing the strangers. Look, when you are chained to someone 24/7, unexpected slip-ups are just bound to happen, and every casual conversation secretly doubles as a full-blown interrogation. So here's our final lineup of suspects. We have Bryce, the biker; Skylar, the cheerleader who wants to pay off student debt and invest with her dad; Juan, the heavy equipment operator supporting a massive family of 6; Jason, the cowboy aiming to fund a kid's cowboy camp; and Bree, a pro basketball player wanting to help her homeless aunt. Everyone has this compelling archetype and a deeply emotional, stated motivation to justify exactly why they need the money. But the real question is, who is using their story as a shield to hide their true intentions? Early on, Skylar the cheerleader feigned complete ignorance about the massive prize amount to Allison. But during a casual hangout, she accidentally blurted out, "Wait, 250? Oops, you literally cannot unring that bell." It was a critical slip-up that instantly broke trust, showing she knew way more about the game's mechanics than she let on. It just goes to show that even the absolute friendliest facade can slip when you let your guard down. On the flip side, some used intense, almost extreme tactics to artificially build trust. Bree, the basketball player, actually showed Allison a permanent tattoo, telling her, "I literally have a tattoo that says promise." She used it as a physical guarantee to Allison that she wouldn't steal the money. It's a highly effective, kind of crazy psychological play, using permanent body art to bypass logical scrutiny and establish unquestioning trust. But then we have these psychological red flags. When Allison directly asked Jason the cowboy if he would split the money, he stumbled. He stammered a bit and finally said, "As of right now, I would." Seriously. Take note of that conditional language. It is a massive tell. A truthful person usually gives a definitive, immediate yes or no. Hesitation in a high-stakes environment like this practically screams deception. All right, section 4, the final lineup and elimination. After surviving 25 agonizing days of this mental marathon, Allison is suddenly confronted with all 5 strangers returning at once for a surprise elimination gauntlet. It's go time. Time to put her intuition to the ultimate test. And this is where the mechanics of the game turn the psychological pressure up to 11. They introduce a cascading payout structure. The first person Allison eliminates doesn't just leave empty-handed. They get $10,000. The second gets $20,000. The third, $30,000. And the fourth gets $40,000. This means the order of elimination matters immensely. She has to carefully, painstakingly rank them from least trustworthy to most trustworthy. But wait, there's a twist, and it is a massive one. The strangers can no longer be swayed or persuaded. They had already secretly locked in their choice to either split or steal the money before this final elimination even began. So Allison's judgment is now the singular thing standing between her and walking away with $0. The trap is set, the choices are locked, and the pressure is entirely 100% on her shoulders.
Finally, Section 5, the $250,000 choice.
The tension here is just palpable. Allison has to use every scrap of accumulated evidence, every subtle hesitation, and every weird slip-up to make her very first elimination. She has to look 5 people in the eye and boot the one she trusts the absolute least. So, what does she do? She makes a decisive, highly strategic first move. She eliminates Jason the cowboy, handing him the lowest possible payout of $10,000. She looks right at him and says, "Honestly, you're the one person I had my doubts about." She correctly identified his earlier hesitation and that weird conditional, as of right now language as the absolute biggest threat in the room. So let me ask you, did Allison make the right choice? I want you to evaluate the evidence we just went through together. Was Jason the cowboy actually a massive financial threat, planning to steal everything? Or was he simply a bad liar who got a little nervous under the bright lights of the camera? The host cuts the lock, revealing Jason's secret decision. And there it is in bold letters: steal. Jason had, in fact, locked in his choice to betray her and steal the entire $250,000 for himself. Had Allison kept him around until the very end, she would have walked away with absolutely nothing. Her lie detection instincts, picking up on that one slight hesitation amidst all the chaos, quite literally just saved her a fortune. This whole experiment really highlights just how unbelievably complex human deception is and how fragile trust can be when you put it under extreme pressure. So think about it. In a high-stakes game full of shifting variables, emotional motivations, and clever archetypes, could you have sniffed out the one true betrayer? The next time someone makes a massive promise to you, maybe pay a little less attention to what they say and a whole lot more attention to exactly how they say it. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.